Hello, Cube friends. As promised, here's one more Chromatic Cube draft before this one ends tomorrow. So I am still feeling just a little bit under the weather, so excuse me if I'm scratchy sounding. But yeah, let's give this one more whirl. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, as I mentioned last time I drafted this cube, I do think green is probably the best or one of the best colors. Clean 2-for-1s are pretty nice here, so Noxious Gearhulk is something that I'm high on. And I think that's about all I've got to say here. I mean, Burn Down the House is powerful, but 5 damage is frankly not enough to kill everything in this format. It's not a nice clean board wipe. Making those 1/1s is a little crazy, but I think Noxious Gearhulk is the sort of thing I want to be doing here. What is this? It's a weird Archaeomancer. Okay, that's interesting. Snapcaster Mage seems pretty powerful, probably. Maybe not quite as powerful as it normally is, since I know a lot of the removal is intentionally kind of expensive here, but still being able to get something back, pretty good. Oh, interesting. Wait, this card is probably really good. So we get to just draw an extra card every turn? Interesting. One of the only 1-drops in the cube, probably. And it just says 2 tap, draw a card on a 1/2 body. It does draw the card out of our opponent's library, but I don't know, that kind of repeatable card advantage seems maybe good. I'm just focusing on the long game when it comes to this cube. I know there's every so often an aggro deck, but I just want to have all of the cards that are going to help me win the longest games possible here, basically. Zagoth Triumph fixes the 2 colors we've already got going on here and also taps for green, which is the aforementioned supposed best color in the cube, according to my 2.5 drafts worth of experience. So, yeah, let's give this a go. Get some mana fixing. It is Chromatic Cube after all. There are so many more avatars on Arena than there were when when last I was playing with a lot of frequency. Usually, I remember looking around the tables and it'd be like, yeah, there's 3 Teferis, 2 Chandras, and a handful of people that just have like the hooded like figure, the Planeswalker. But now it's like, oh, everyone's got their own new thing. Okay, Growth Spiral, definitely a ramp spell. So is Solemn. Solemn is a colorless ramp spell. I do like Virtue of Loyalty. I think what I'm probably going to do here is just take the fixing again. Try and move ourselves into green. I'm seeing a couple green cards flowing in our direction anyway, so maybe we'll see something a little bit more powerful than, I don't know, Growth Spiral or Armored Scrap Forger. Keruga is kind of interesting. Nashi, Ninjutsu, top player, each player's library. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we can spend life to cast these spells. Dismiss is a pretty clean 2-for-1 as well. Maelstrom Pulse kills literal anything. That might be valuable. It's also one of the cheapest removal spells in the cube. And we started moving into green here a little bit. I think I'm going to take this Maelstrom Pulse. Just nice, clean answer to anything that opponent is doing. Ooh, Hullbreaker Horror. Now that card sounds crazy in this format. I do think that we're likely to make it to 7 mana most of the time. It's going to flash in, eat an attacker, and then just start going crazy. Bouncing stuff. Probably just kill the opponent right on the backswing most times. So I'm going to give this a go. Craterhoof Behemoth. Breeding Pool. Oh yeah, we love Breeding Pool. So we don't have anything that actually taps for mana here for this Kinnan yet. I could see that card being good. Yeah, I think it's between Bankbuster and Breeding Pool here. Bankbuster being the card advantage engine, but Breeding Pool being the fixing. So let's grab this, throw it in the sideboard here. Okay, now we have basically just Urtai in terms of on-color cards here. Or we could draft a fixing land and try to move into yet a fourth color, but that sounds a little bit loose. So I'm going to grab this Urtai. Urtai is also a very clean answer to a lot of different things, but it does give that card advantage back. I think I'm going to grab the Celestis here. I do like the Underground Mortuary for the fixing, but I think the Celestis is going to be fixing as well as a ramp spell, and it also gives us card selection in the late game. I think this card is pretty cool. I'm more excited in general about these 3-mana mana rocks compared to something like Palladium Mirror, which we already passed, because they are not soft to removal, and they also fix your mana. Both of those things I think are particularly important in this format. I'm going to grab this nice removal spell. And speaking of these 3-mana mana rocks, I think Cultivator's Caravan is one that fixes your mana and also can attack in the late game if we wanted to. Chart a course. Keruga comes back. I wonder if we're willing to just put this card in our deck. We'll see later. We have quite a lot of things that it triggers. I actually think currently we are likely to play it. Each other permanent you control with mana value 3 or greater. So triggers off of our 3-mana mana rocks here, and then also on our other big stuff. But even if you go turn 3 the Celestis into turn 4 Keruga and draw a card off of your 5/4, like that's pretty good. Okay, I'm not convinced about Conspiracy Unraveler yet, but we'll see if that one makes the cut. Extinction Event might actually go in our deck. We'll see. Okay, what have we got here? Black Market Connections is quite powerful. But the games go so long. I'm a little worried. I mean, I think Timeless Witness is just a crazy amount of card advantage. Case of the Locked Hothouse also strikes me as a card that's potentially much stronger in this environment than it otherwise would be. 7 lands doesn't sound too hard to hit, and once you flip it, you just kind of win the game, I think. Let's give this one a try. Oh, Jin Gitaxias Progress Tyrant. Hidetsugu and Kairi is also really good. Cultivate. Ooh, okay. I like where this is going. Just keep ramping, basically. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so now we have potentially Watery Grave, Feed the Swarm. A lot of our colors have started getting kind of snapped up here, but I'm going to drag this right over here. Try and cast more of our bug spells. Okay, Memory Deluge seems really good. Whirler Rogue also strikes me as really powerful. And another mana rock here in Dragon's Horde. It seems like this table is just not prioritizing these manoliths. Perhaps I'm wrong about my evaluation of them, but perhaps the rest of the table is. You really never know. This card is also really powerful. Wow. I think it's going to be hard to convoke, and Whirler Rogue is just... I mean, giving your stuff unblockable in this format seems pretty powerful. We've got a good amount of card advantage already. I don't know if we also need the Memory Deluge on top of that. So I'm going to try and grab this threat that actually kind of ends the game here. Wow, okay. I think it's going to be Shark Typhoon here, but let's check these other ones. This is interesting. It's a bounce spell that also draws you a copy of the thing you bounced, which is cool. Vraska is also quite powerful here. It's removal as well as card draw, but this one is kind of like removal as well as being a threat, because you can often flash it in, block your opponent's attacker, and then crack in with flying. I'm pretty excited about Shark Typhoon here. There's even a world in which you actually cast it in this format, which is something I'm not super likely to do in a lot of other formats where this shows up. But sometimes it's just 6 mana, make a whole bunch of sharks, which also sounds pretty good to me. Alright, well, Nissa Ascendant Animist is probably one of the best spells in the cube, if I had to guess. It's just a planeswalker that cranks out huge blockers every single turn, and sometimes deals with problem permanents. I feel like this card is crazy. I'm pretty surprised to see it here this late. Frost Titan, also really good. Casualties of War. I think it might be Maze Mine Tome here. We don't have a lot to do in the early turns of the game, and this is going to do a nice Reckoner Bankbuster impression here, draw us a couple of cards, and maybe even gain us some life. So Fibblethip is also pretty powerful. This one lets you kind of cast stuff off the top of your library. Maybe we'll grab that instead, actually. Okay, Fibblethip. Oh, wow, Bonnie Paul. Okay, that one seems really good to me. I'm really hoping we see that Manalith back, because now our curve is getting quite high. If we can find a couple more ramp spells here, I think we're really cooking. The Timeless Witness came back. I think that's better than the Immortal Sun, probably. And, okay, Joint Exploration is a ramp spell. That counts for something. Feed the Swarm might still make the cut. Decent removal spell. And the Dragon's Horde does come back along with both of the blue spells. But I think it's just going to have to be Manaliths all day. The 2-drops are really quite scarce in this cube, and so I really feel like 3-drops are the new 2-drops in this environment. So I'm happy to have these 3-mana ramp spells, and I think Karn is pretty defensible as well. This is looking like a much better Whirler Rogue deck than last time. I remember drafting Whirler Rogue and then it didn't make the cut because I was all Planeswalkers. This deck has a lot more creatures in it. Wow, last pick Frost Titan. That feels so wrong to me. But I don't know, I really don't know. This is a bunch of ramp spells, but also, wow, Railway Brawler. Quite the card. I think I am going to grab the Iron Crag. Probably over the Ornithopter. I don't know, maybe not. Ornithopter does fix our mana as well. Maybe that's better. Softer to removal, but... Ooh, Voracious Great Shark. Kind of spicy. What does this do? Oh yeah, this is the one that stab wounds everything. We could take Bronze Walrus. Just keep taking ramp spells. I also think Voracious Great Shark is good here. Crocodile, Finale. We have so much top end. Like, we don't even need this Great Shark. We just need to keep casting Manaliths and then casting our Bonnie Pauls and Frost Titans and Hullbreaker Horrors and stuff. Our mana fixing is looking really good. Cemetery versus Bark Channel Pathway. I think it's Cemetery. And yeah, I mean, Tireless Tracker is also really powerful here, so is Skull Prophet as far as ramp spells go. Skyclave Relic is also like the best Manalith that you can ask for. But I think we are kind of topped up on ramp here, and I want to make our fixing a little more consistent. We're going to have to make a couple of cuts off the top here. Keruga feels still really quite good. I think we want to keep the removal spells. Urtai is probably one of our worst interaction spells. Channeler, Hedron Archive. Hedron Archive is pretty good. I might be nearing too much ramp here. So I'm thinking maybe Augur of Autumn has some extra card advantage. Seems pretty castable here. I don't know if we actually need this Charter Course. I think the top end is all really quite powerful here. Grave Titan. That card is also pretty messed up. Valky is kind of funny. We can potentially cast the back half with all of our manoliths, and it also gives us something to do in the early game against a potential aggro deck, just like knock them off their curve. I do really like Valky. Alright, are we still interested in this Agent of Rafine? Seems like we have a ton of ETB, make some card advantage sorts of things. Wow, Golos. That's pretty cool. Is Golos better? Oh, Hostage Taker's got to be the best card here. That card is just messed up. Free 2 for 1. Alright, what does this do? Probably Terrace Sunder. Just like good removal here. Target non-land permanent, yeah. Okay. Wayfarer's Bubble came back. I like that card. Yeah, let's grab this. No, maybe the Visionary is better. Oh, we have so many 3s. Let's do this. Great Shark comes back. I don't even know if this card makes the cut, to be honest. Oh, this is like a weird instant speed Villainous Wealth. Interesting. Another free 2 for 1, and the Tireless Tracker is back. This is going to be a little bit of a tough build. Wow. All the cards are so playable in this format. Ugh. We're just going to have to cut off the top end, but all the top end cards feel so impactful. See, Doomscar Warrior is even just like a perfectly good card, and it just gets last picked here because every card is so powerful. Let's see. Urtai is one of the worst removal spells we have right now. How on earth am I going to cut this down? I think Joint Exploration is really quite good because it's a ramp spell, but it's not dead in the late game. I guess that's mostly true of all these ramp spells except maybe Dragon Sword and Wayfarer's Bubble. Are we still waiting on someone to get force picked here? Not sure. Let's try leaving the draft table. I think this happened maybe the first time, and then it threw all my cards back into the main deck, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Okay, well, we can fix this. Let's get rid of this. What else did we cut? Multiple choice, Agent of Rafine. I might actually want this Outrageous Robbery, not sure yet. Conspiracy Unraveler, not sure about that one. Doomscar Warrior, Urtai Resurrected, and I think that's roughly what we were looking at before. I could companion the Keruga, but I lose a ton of. Well, okay, let's see. Maybe that's just really good. I don't know. I was mentioning how I think this format kind of starts on turn 3. So this is 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 lands. And yeah, I mean, what if we just play a bunch of impactful spells? Fibblethip gets a little bit worse with everything being so expensive. But we can just play spells that win the game and always have a Keruga. I think that might be kind of the plan here. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Keruga Companion. Kind of fitting. For those of you who are not aware, one of my cubes is called Companion Cube and has a companion-related rules change. You can check that out on my Cube Cobra if you're interested in that. I'll try to remember to stick that in the video description. Yeah. I feel like all my hands are gonna be keepable pretty much. None of them are gonna do anything until turn 3. Just gonna cast our Dragon's Horde and then start casting 5-drops. Okay. Dragon's Horde, and the next turn we get to hold up the Great Shark. Either block their 3-drop or just counter their thing. We'll see. What do you have, opponent? Oh, okay, that's pretty good. We could Cultivator's Caravan into Maelstrom Pulse, and then we just draw a whole bunch of cards. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Just keep ramping here, kill their thing. This is a little bit of a waste of a Maelstrom Pulse, I think, but if they've got Captain Lannery Storm in their deck, they're probably a little bit on the faster side. And hopefully we can just Great Shark them next turn or something. Ooh, that's a really good one. That would have been a great target for Maelstrom Pulse. For those of you who are playing along at home. I suppose I can Timeless Witness it back. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, they're going to get 1 turn with 8 mana, which is terrifying. But, okay, 10 mana. But they're also not going to, like, they only have 4 cards left, and we're about to draw a bunch of cards. So, if we can survive, okay. Now they have infinity mana. I'm not even sure if I want to spend this Maelstrom Pulse anymore. Probably going to hold up the Voracious Great Shark for whatever terrifying thing they do next turn. Okay, yeah, we're just going to pass here. Try to counter their Scary Creature spell. And then, yeah, I'll just point this at anything. Hopefully we can outvalue them, even though they have an absurd amount of mana. Yeah, they're really ramping. They're ramping so much harder than we are. Here's a 6/6. Great Henge. Okay, that's bad because that draws a lot of cards. So that might be the thing to target with the Maelstrom Pulse. Hopefully their last card isn't a creature. Okay, looking good. So this is going to have to go at the Great Henge, absolutely. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana left, so we can Whirler Rogue. What does this take to crew? 3. Okay. We can Whirler Rogue and make our thing unblockable. We could Shock in Breeding Pool, and then we have Caravan. No, that does not let us tap our stuff. If we save 1 mana, we end up with 2 Thopters and a Caravan, so we can't crew the Caravan and also make the Voracious Great Shark unblockable. So we're just going to cast the Whirler Rogue. We've got something, it looks like. Play this tapped, and target this creature. Tap these 2 artifacts. Bang. Okay, now we just have to beat a 6/6, which I think we can do. See what they got here. I don't know what their last card is. Doesn't seem to have been a creature. Micaeus the Lunarch X equals 11. Alright. I guess it was a creature. Can we beat a 6/6 and a 12/12? Probably. Okay, Bonnie Paul is definitely part of the equation here. So we cast this thing, and then we make a big creature, and then we attack with our Thopters, I guess, and we prepare to block aggressively. We want to attack with something to trigger the Bonnie Paul. I'm going to attack with just the one Thopter here just to trigger it. And then I think we're going to plan to block pretty aggressively here. If they attack with the Mikaeus, they can't activate it. Okay, Voice of Resurgence is fine. Big, but not that big. In that, like, when it dies, it will be whatever, a 4/4 or whatever. Okay, they don't want to attack here. Karn, Scion of Urza. That's pretty strong. Pretty strong. So, we have access to 8 mana here. We cannot Hullbreaker Horror plus another thing. So I think what I want to do is probably go to combat, draw another card, and then we might hold up the Hullbreaker Horror probably. The Karn also makes a crazy big construct, but let's see. Still no reach creatures over there. Onto the battlefield. So that's 9 mana. Still not enough. Okay, but flashing in the horror and then bouncing their stuff should be enough to kill them next turn. We'll see what they have. Yep, your stuff gets a little bit bigger here. Winota. Okay, that's scary. This is a human, but the other two are not humans. So if they swing with both, we'll see what they hit. Oh, just the one. Okay. They whiffed on that. So I think I'm going to block probably with block like this. They can only kill one of these creatures. Probably they're going to kill the bigger one. And then I think we ought to be able to just flash in Hullbreaker Horror, bounce both of their blockers, and have them super dead. Oh, they do get a token. Okay, we can bounce all these, I think. So bounce the token, bounce the voice. Let's see. We can crew this thing. That doesn't seem to matter very much. If they end up with one blocker, then they block the 7 power and they take 11, 14. Sorry, 11, 15. That looks like lethal to me. I could cycle this in the future. I don't think that's very important. Yeah, okay. They found it. All right, on to game 2. no Manalith this time, but we do always have something to do with our mana on turn 3. So I'm just going to keep this one. Running hot on die rolls over here. Oh, it's the Fibblethip one. I never did draw a Fibblethip when I had that card in my deck last time. I got nothing? Well, that's fine with me. Here's my random do-nothing enchantment. It does exploration. I forgot about that part. Opponent is maybe some kind of control deck. I'm going to keep casting stuff that doesn't really do anything. Okay, there's the Urtai. I get a card for my troubles. That's fine. And wouldn't you know it, it's Nissa. So if they tap out here, I feel like we are very likely to win. Okay, Fibblethip flips their thing, and then what? They get to Future Sight? That's pretty good. But if they don't have a counterspell for this Nissa, I can't imagine they're winning this game. Okay. Go to me. I'm going to cast this thing. I'm going to pay some life for it. They're mousing over their lands, but they're not slamming a counterspell. Oh, that does not do what you want it to. Oh, wait, yes it does. Wait, does it? Where'd it go? Does it say Planeswalker on it? Yeah, it does. Okay, so I will get a 4/4 and a card for my troubles. And... oh, actually, they can kill my 4/4, and then they can attack Nissa. Oh, but they missed it. Okay. I can always Timeless Witness back the Nissa. I think we're going to go with Bonnie Paul next turn. Just keep slamming Haymakers every single turn. Eventually it will kill them. They can only have so many answers in their control deck. I guess they're trying to... okay, Solemn, that's fine. Settle the Score is a good draw. It's going to be Bonnie Paul this turn while they're tapped low. Is there just like an Ephemerate? Yep, okay. Well, it's pretty good. Just keep cashing my stuff in for cards. I'm kind of getting tempoed out at this point. But, yeah, so they get to kill my thing. They give me another land. Or another card, rather. And then... oh, okay. They wanted the Solemn. I feel like they could be playing a crazy tempo game right now, and they're just not. Like, I'm kind of terrified of this flyer. Keruga. It's pretty good. I got my Grave Titan. This does not work the way I want it to if I hit my own Grave Titan with it. Okay, they're actually a flicker deck, seemingly. 16, 16. Gearhole kills my thing. Okay, I have to draw Extinction Event. Ooh. Yeah, that hits literally all of their creatures. Okay, sold. I choose even. Well, that was pretty good. As far as draws I could have. Now I have to kill them, probably Timeless Witness into... Oh, okay, that probably kills me. They've got 5 cards left. Oh, they can get Geruga back and then just deck me? Wow. What a game. What a game. Well, they should probably be picking Geruga, since that literally kills me. But maybe they won't. They want to shuffle the Power 9 into their deck instead. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's not as cool as winning the game. Sure. I am honestly really confused about the way that they're playing this game, but they're going to win anyway. That is what happens sometimes. There's Mox Ruby. Sure. Uh-huh. I got 10 cards left over there. They're going to Time Walk. If they cast Time Twister and shuffle my whole graveyard back into my deck, then that will be really good for me. That is another card. Down to 7. I do think I'm probably losing the game anyway if they do Time Twister, since I will have lost... Oh, sick. I was going to say, since I'll have lost all of my card advantage. So I've got 2 cards left here. What are you going to do to get this back out of your graveyard? I don't know what my opponent is up to over there, but it's definitely exciting. They have 4 Moxen on the battlefield, which is definitely very cool. There's Gonti. So that's one of my cards, as long as I have a spell left in my deck. Okay, looks like I did. And you got 1 card left to mill opponent. Or you can just cast Time Twister. I mean, look how enticing it is. I've got 10 cards in my hand. If you Time Twister me, that's a 3-for-1. And you get to draw 3 cards. That's so much card advantage. Creature or Planeswalker. Yorion. So they can Yorion their Gonti and take my other spell. I guess I had no lands left. Their deck is really good. I do think that Flickering Oracle of the Alpha is probably just bad. I have been of the opinion since I first saw that card that the ETB trigger is actually a downside. I mean, shuffling effectively 6 lands into your deck alongside Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and Time Twister is kind of bad in Limited, in my opinion. It's already turn 3 by the time it enters the battlefield, or even more. So, do you really want to be drawing Mox Ruby on turn 4? I don't think so. Maybe Black Lotus is good on exactly turn 4, but I really think that, on average, that trigger reduces the quality of your draws. Okay, here's the Gonti back. They get to shuffle Power 9 back into their deck. And I did in fact have a spell, so now I will lose the game. Pretty sick. Oh, they updated the animation for when you deck. That's kind of cute. Oh, unless that was some kind of MKM specific thing. I do appear to be playing in the MKM background, so I don't know if that was murder mystery themed or if they changed the animation for dying to mill. One of the two. I forgot to name this deck. I would probably just name it like Bug Keruga or something. I don't have any cute nicknames, I don't know, for this kind of thing. It's just a Sultai Ramp with Keruga. Once again, winning the die roll. I don't have my third land, but if I do find my third land, I have a Dragon Sword. So it's kind of close. I think I'm just going to keep this. I have 2 hits at any land. Yeah, okay. Opponent went to 6 because they are smarter than I am. Oh, and they even put Surveillance in their deck. They're way smarter than I am. Just kidding. I am both skilled and intelligent. Drawing my third land over here. They're doing what I'm doing, but with a much higher degree of consistency. And possibly with some kind of reanimator strategy involved. Okay. We are up to 5 mana here, so I am just going to slam the Nissa. Pay my 4 life. And make a big creature. And then make increasingly big creatures for the rest of the game until my opponent is dead. That is the current game plan. 7 damage to target. Oh, wow. Well, that's brutal. And they needed the Ornithopter to actually cast that spell. Okay, well. Here is my Celestis for now. And here is my 4 damage to you. Combustible Gear Hulk. I'm just going to take the damage here. Have them draw 3 cards. No. What do you got? 6 damage? 5 damage? Yeah, sure. So, I have a tapped land here. So I think I'm going to have to Maelstrom Pulse the Gear Hulk. Just keep getting in. I'm going to scry. And then whatever they play to block gets Noxious Gear Hulked. Ooh, or Hostage Taken. I'll leave that on top. Slam in. And, you know, if they don't present a threat, we've got a Grave Titan. And if they do, we've got a Gear Hulk. Feeling pretty good about our spot here. Crucius. Yeah, that card is pretty strong. They get to make a treasure. I am just going to kill it, probably. They chose Ambitious, which I think is the larger one. Yeah, so they've got something bigger. I think I'm going to hostage take this thing, because I can actually cast it. I mean, next turn that is, but I should have given them the opportunity to block first, I suppose. They do have some kind of pause. I guess it's the treasure token? I'm not really sure. Oh, okay. So Crucius comes back. which is fine. That's probably what they ended up seeking off of their Facebreaker over here. Surveilling 2 lands to the graveyard. I'm feeling pretty good on... Ooh, okay. It's a lot of damage. I'm feeling really good on card advantage. My life total is getting a little bit dicey. This thing is only going to gain me 1 life, which is actually funny because Crucius used to be a 3-3 and it got nerfed to a 3-1. And that, in this particular situation, is going to turn out to be a buff, which is pretty amusing. But I am going to take my 1 life. Now, if they draw removal spell and creature, I'm probably dead. But I think I just have to try to put them dead. Hopefully I get to block whatever it is they do here. Ooh, okay. Target creature. Oh, Hostage Taker. No? Oh, Gear Hulk? I get to block the Gear Hulk. They need something with Trample. What do they have? Menace. No, that doesn't kill me. Not enough power. Oh, this one. This one super kills me. Why don't they just do that? That's like not even close to not killing me. Did they forget about their Xenagos? That card they surveilled to the graveyard on turn 2 with Discovery Dispersal is going to be the thing that seals the deal here. That's pretty funny, but also a little bit frustrating. All right. Outsmarted by my opponent's incredible foresight to put Vorinclex into their graveyard on turn 2. I finally lost a die roll, and we have 3 lands, 3 drop. So, I'm gonna keep this. I could have led on the temple, I guess. And I would have been able to scry that land to the bottom. But I am going to scry this one to the bottom. Main phase cracked the clue. Okay. After playing your land drop. I shouldn't be so harsh. I am not playing perfectly either. I guess opponent is just full of counter magic, probably. So I'm going to go ahead and ramp some more. Unless they don't want me to do that. Yeah, sure. I don't think that that is going to end up being a good use of that counter spell in the long run. Are they just mono blue? Yeah, there's that Oracle again. I really just am not sure that this card is good. We foretold something. So this is an opportunity for me to cast Nissa, probably. I'm not sure what a mono blue deck does against a resolved Nissa Ascendant Animist, but we are either about to find out or about to win the game. I'm going to hold up the Shark Typhoon here. Has the benefit of not only being instant speed, but also uncounterable, since it's an activated ability. We could play the Celestis. I think the 4/4 flyer is going to end up being better. So let's go to combat. Let's attack with this 6/6. And make our 5/5. Instead of progressively larger creatures, we're going to end up with progressively smaller creatures because of this 2-power flyer here. But I think 6/6, 5/5, 4/4, 3/3, 2/2, and 1/1 should be enough to get the job done. Opponent has 3 cards here. So they're pretty far away from flipping their search. And they do get to surveil that Black Lotus into their graveyard. Extra turn. Yeah, that's fine. As I mentioned, I really don't think you want Black Lotus. And as you can see, they just kind of surveilled it. Okay. Oh, I get to block their thing. X equals 4. Pass to blockers. Block this. Now I get to keep the Nissa. And we'll see what they've got over here. Mono blue seems tough in this format. Like, there's a lot of stuff where if they slip under your counter magic, I don't really know how you win. Okay. To play a land. And now, like, what are you gonna do? I don't know. One with the multiverse is definitely card advantage, but I also just get to blow it up with Nissa. Maybe there are mind controls in this format? I'm honestly not really sure. Okay, let's get rid of this thing. I'm a little scared of that one. And then we can just Grave Titan, I guess. I don't think I care if Nissa takes 2 at this point. I'm gonna slam in with these. Maybe there's like a River's Rebuke in this format? River's Rebuke sounds like a deeply unfun card to have in this like 1v1 cube where the board states are super sprawling. You just tap 6 mana and your opponent immediately dies. That sounds horrible. Should have been blue so you could have counter magic, I guess. Alright, we're at 7, so they're going to flip the thing. They did not want Saiba Siphoner. Isn't that an Archaeomancer? I feel like that would be good here. I guess they don't have a lot of stuff to actually do with it. Here's Brainstorm. Mox Sapphire. And Time Twister. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I guess. I was just saying how I think this card would be a miserable include for this cube, but here it is. Here's my feedback for you, Wizards of the Coast. Who's actually in charge of this cube? Usually I'm complaining to Daybreak, but that is just not really a fun effect. Just bouncing like a one-sided bounce. This is a card that makes it super easy to win out of nowhere with pretty much no counterplay unless you're a counterspells deck. So maybe give that one a second thought if you're looking for feedback. Not sure what my opponent is holding priority on here. Is there like a... I mean, I don't think there's a Force of Will in this format. Oh, yeah, okay. I did know about that one. Yeah, we're just gonna pitch the ramp spells here. Opponent down to 4 cards in hand, but they also have a case of Locked Hothouse. So this one only works on creatures, enchantments, and lands. So there's a Mox Ruby, make a 0/0 shark. And yeah, go ahead and take a look here. I think I'm going to pass the turn, flash in the Hullbreaker Horror, and bounce my case back to my hand. Mox Jet. Kill your thing. Solve that. Oh, right, it wasn't solved yet. That's why. Okay, so this is just going to be this. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to try and get that case back into my hand. Time Walk is pretty good. I'm just going to take the 2 here. Okay, Fibblethip is scary. I might be able to catch the Fibblethip with the Hullbreaker Horror. Midnight Clock. That one only wheels my opponent, unlike Time Twister. Plot Mox Sapphire. That's kind of cute. Just going off over there. Plot is equal. Is this a bug? What's going on here? Their stuff doesn't actually cost 0. You mean the plot cost is equal to its mana cost. How did they plot? Did they pay for that? Maybe they did. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so bounce the... I might have to exile the tokens to make sure I don't die. And then I can 1, 2, 3, 4. I can also bounce the Shark Typhoon. Does this hit any permanent? No, it doesn't. I'm thinking of the old one they used to play, Tide Spout Tyrant. Okay, let's start with this. Definitely going to return the case to my hand. And then we're going to choose even here. We're going to exile the tokens. And then we can play a swamp, cast the case, bounce the Shark Typhoon, play Breeding Pool tapped, and Kraken Force 7. So they've got Vesuvan Mist here, which is a little frightening. I don't know if I can beat Vesuvan Mist, Hullbreaker Horror. If they make a copy, they get to bounce. I mean, I guess they only get to bounce my permanents, because they can't flash in the Mox in any way. I'm honestly more concerned about them making a case of the Locked Hothouse, I think, because that's just ton of raw card advantage. Oh, they didn't kick it. Oh, they did kick it. Okay. It is a lot harder to see what's going on mana-wise on Arena, I have to say. Okay, 5 power in the air. Little frightening. Here's this thing. You can get back your Time Walk. Yep. And that'll be 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, plus the Hullbreaker Horror. Yeah, so I'm just super dead here. They're giving me a bunch of cards, which I feel like they probably shouldn't do since I'm already dead on board. Now, I don't actually have anything in my deck that makes that relevant, but I can't help but feel that this is probably needlessly reckless. But it seems like they're having fun, so. Oh, they can bounce their own stuff. It's pretty cool. So this is just infinite, right? They just make infinite turns. They can cast Moxen, bounce Moxen, make mana, cast Time Walk, bounce Archaeomancer. Yeah. Pretty sick. Okay, opponent, you have demonstrated a loop. Please feel free to kill me now. No? No? Alright. Next Time Walk, I scoop. Okay. They got bored. Nope, they didn't get bored. They just passed into their second main phase. You good? Okay. Now we're good. You may now attack me for 10. You got it. All right. Well, we're on quite the losing streak. But it happens. And I certainly had more fun losing in this cube than I had losing in Vintage Cube. So, cool. That's probably all of the cube I'm going to be able to record for a little bit, as both this and Vintage Cube are going down tomorrow. So we'll see what the future brings. And we'll catch you next time.